Junpei Iori is your classmate and he becomes the MC's best friend throughout the game. And at the start of the game, Junpei is kinda immature but goofy character that often cracks jokes, tries to hit on girls but with no success. And his classmates consider him to be stupid, since he has the lowest score in the exams, but that's mainly due to his lack of interest in studying. And Yukari often mocks him for this, calling him stupid. But as the story progresses and Junpei starts to become more and more mature, she stops eventually calling him stupid. His reputation in the school is a class clown, as he often cracks jokes, but this goofy personality exists only because he's trying to hide his insecurities about himself. I'll talk about this more as it becomes more relevant in the video. Junpei Iori's social link is only available if you're playing as the female protagonist, and his arcana is the Magician Arcana. Magician Arcana is often associated with action, initiative, self-confidence, immaturity, manipulation, and power. Other characters with this arcana are Yusuke Hanamura from P4 and that creature from P5. Junpei also has a slightly dirty mind, like for instance, during his first appearance, he questions Yukari what she meant by last night. And Junpei often mentions how attractive the female members of SEAS are. And during vacation in Yakushima, he drags his friends into Operation Baybound and attempts to flirt with local women, but with no success. Junpei's hobbies consist of reading manga, playing video games and baseball. Junpei also does have a dream since his childhood that one day after he becomes an adult, he will be a pro baseball player. That's also the reason why during fights, he is holding and swinging his sword like a baseball bat. His dream becomes reality. In P4 Arena, we find out Junpei is a baseball coach and he is dreaming about winning in a world championship. In one of those recordings, we can find for each member of SEAS. We can see his room is a complete mess, and Mitsuru was suspecting there might have been a robbery or that Junpei was kidnapped. But the reality is that's just how the room always looks like, and that shocks Mitsuru. Junpei at the start of the game is also really jealous of the MC because he was chosen as the field leader of SEAS, and also because MC has a special power called Wildcard. Junpei is jealous regardless if you're playing as FemC or male MC. He claims that he should be the leader instead. In FemC playthrough, he's even annoyed he must take orders from a girl and says she should be a leader because she's a girl. Anyway, as I mentioned at the start of the video, Junpei's goofy fucker exists only to hide his insecurities. He thinks that fighting is the only thing he's ever been good at, and he hates that there's someone with a special powers that's better than him in the only thing he's good at, and that person is no other than the MC obviously. Because of that, he's initially sad that the Tartarus will be gone, since if that's gone, his only purpose in life will be gone as well. Because of his insecurity, he's often reckless and he's trying to be a hero. He carelessly jumps into dangerous fights to prove himself. Like for instance, during the May full moon, he charges alone into the next carriage, only to find himself surrounded and in need of help, putting himself and the mission to danger. When Akeko finds Junpei crying in a convenience store during the dark hour, Junpei was invited to the SEAS, since he also was a personal user. But he didn't have a reason to join the SEAS. He only wanted to play the hero and thought that the dark hour is just some kind of game. He even questions his purpose for fighting, and he eventually discovers that purpose when he meets Chidori. Chidori is the most important point for Junpei in his character development, and she's the most important person for him. Chidori is the member of Strega, the villain group in P3 that wishes for the fall, but Junpei doesn't know that. Junpei meets Chidori sitting near the cinema. Chidori finds Junpei annoying and weird, but Junpei is still trying to talk to her and get to know her. At first, it does not go well, but as he keeps trying, she eventually starts opening up to him, little by little. And eventually, Junpei falls in love with Chidori and vice versa. Junpei tells Chidori that he is a hero fighting monsters in the dark using a special power called Persona, and lies about being a leader of SEAS. And during the 6th full moon, Junpei gets kidnapped by Chidori since she thinks he's the leader of SEAS, and she tells him to call off the mission, but Junpei admits he never gave orders before and reveals he isn't the leader. And Junpei asks her if this was all an act or not, But Chidori can't answer the question in time since Cease discovers her and she is captured. After that, she ends up in a hospital, but she doesn't talk to anyone except Junpei, and Junpei is often visiting her in the hospital and he's very protective about her. And Junpei is really sad when he finds out Chidori is harming herself. From the point when Chidori ends up in a hospital, Junpei starts changing a lot. Apart from FMC, Chidori is the only person who Junpei is comfortable enough to talk about his insecurities, saying that without his persona, he will be a nobody and that he pretends to be a hero, and he even questions his reason to fight again. And he talks about his childhood dream of becoming a pro baseball player. And as for Chidori, she is confused about Junpei. She tells him that she is in pain because of him, because she now feels dead and Chidori no longer wants to die. What she truly fears isn't death, but she is scared of attachment, because once she becomes attached to somebody, and in this case that's obviously Junpei, she fears she will lose it. Chidori also questions whether she is loyal to Strega or Junpei. After the fight with Chidori, where she practically admits she loves Junpei, Tayaka and Jin appear from Tartaru's entrance and Tayaka fatally shoots Junpei and he dies. But Chidori uses her power to revive Junpei, but her persona emits life. In order to revive Junpei, she had to give him her life source, meaning she sacrifices for Junpei to revive him, and unfortunately, she died by doing so. After that, Junpei's new resolution awaked him to a new persona by fusing Chidori's and Junpei's into one. Chidori's death makes Junpei depressed, and only the discovery of Chidori's sketchbook and the drownings of Junpei she made, he finds the strength to move on, resolving to try living to the fullest since it's not just his life anymore, and also to be better friend to all that are close to him. Junpei meeting Chidori really changed Junpei as he becomes much more mature. Also about Chidori, if you manage to convince Junpei multiple times to visit Chidori in hospital, she will come to life thanks to those flowers, because every time Junpei visits Chidori, Chidori uses her powers to give life to those flowers, and it's also those flowers that revive her. But I'll make a separate video about Chidori and Strega in the future, where I'll talk about them in more detail. Anyway, the most second important person to Junpei is also FMC. If you max Junpei's social link, Junpei isn't a romance option in P3 since he loves Chidori, but FMC is Junpei's best friend and he finds it weird and he says that he will never expect a gear to be his best friend. Junpei's kind side is shown a lot during his social link. During some points of his social link, Junpei found out someone was taking pictures of FMC in her game clothes, and Junpei is obviously worried about this since he's scared these pictures may be only the beginning. So he helps FMC to find the culprit. During his social link, he also starts to open up to FMC about his insecurities and says he wants to change. And he asks FMC if she can help him study. And at the end of the game, he scores a pretty decent score in the exam. We also find out Junpei hates drunk people and he admits he doesn't like his father because he's often drunk and his dad was often beating Junpei, and because of that he was really happy when he called Jun to cease and live in the dorms. But he also admits he doesn't like to run away from the problems anymore and pretend like they will go away on their own. Junpei also becomes a friend with Ryuji after he transfers to Gegogen High School later in the game. But when it is revealed that Ryuji is the same being as that, but he gained a human form and he was also acting like a human after living 10 years into MC, since Aige sealed him in MC, Junpei becomes frustrated that Ryuji's real purpose is to summon Nyx. Junpei decides to fight him anyway to prevent the fall, and he mentions he understands now why his father decided to start drinking to avoid the pain. Going to answer when Cease became threat in the dorm, unlike Yukari, Junpei isn't bothered to fight the shadows again. In his past, we can see him in Paulomiamau, trying to forget about his depressing relationship with his alcoholic father. By chance, he meets Koromaru and he gets along easily with him. Two school classmates then approach Junpei and they ask him if he wants to come with them to Escapade Club to have some drinks. But he rejects the offer because he wasn't in the legal age to drink and he wasn't in the mood because of his father. After that, he tells others his father slightly overcame his addiction, but he still drinks, but just not as much as he used to. After that, the Cease finds out about the ability to come back in time, and Junpei is the only one who acts rational now. He tries to calm everyone down and solve the problem without the need for battle. After he fails to convince others to solve the problem without the need for battle, he forms a team with Koromaru. At the end of the answer, the true key is forged and they open the doors and find out what happened to the MC. Junpei and other members decide to live their life to the fullest and try to change the world so MC might come back one day. Anyway, I personally love Junpei and his character development, and he really is the man. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos, hit the subscribe button. And if you have something to say, please leave a comment. And also, you should watch the previous videos I made about Yukari Takeba and Akinari. Goodbye.